Hey guys, this is Lord Hammer from Guild Umbra, and I was fortunate enough today to be brought out to Zenimax Online Studios, working with the Bethesda group, and I'm here with Matt Firor. Why don't you tell us what you do, sir?
Hey, I'm the game director on the Elder Scrolls Online at Zenimax Online.
So tell us briefly a little bit about you, yourself, how you got into the game industry, and what you really do day to day.
How much time do we have? So my first game was actually in 1988, so I've been around a long time. But that was in the days before graphics, really. So when the multiplayer games were, of course, just text. But
The MUDs.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I didn't even know MUDs existed, but some friends and I just decided we wanted to play a multiplayer game, and we wrote one. And it's like we didn't even know MUDs existed. It's just funny how things work that way. We played a game called Scepter of Goth for a while, which actually was kind of a proto-MUD. And but then we didn't even look around. There was no Google back then, of course, so we couldn't find another Scepter of Goth after it went out of business, and so we just wrote one ourselves. And but that was more a hobby. But we did have people on it and playing it. And then we formed a company, and then that company merged with another company, and it became Mythic Entertainment, and we did a bunch of games in the late 90s, and then, of course, everyone remembers Dark Age of Camelot, which was our biggest hit in 2001.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I think that's probably my favorite MMO of all time, so that's actually kind of creepy that it matches up like that. And I used to talk to those guys all the time out in the Fairfax area.
Yeah, that's where we were.
Going and getting pizza at Pomodoro Pizza right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm
That's
a whole
fun.
way from around the way. So why don't you tell us about Elder Scrolls and what you're doing there?
Well, we started Elder Scrolls Online a few years back, basically to bring kind of the friends to Elder Scrolls games, because Elder Scrolls games, of course, have been described for at least the last three, for Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim as kind of a single-player MMO, because it has kind of all the features of an MMO you would expect, kind of huge world exploration, lots of character customizations, kind of epic scope. But they've never allowed other players in the game because they've been single player. So we kind of started the whole project just with the idea of bringing more people into the Elder Scrolls universe, and that's kind of where Elder Scrolls Online started.
Well, that's awesome, and I actually got a chance to play for many hours today, and the best way to I don't even know if it's a marketing thing, but I love the way you guys are calling it, an online role-playing game, and not really looking at MMO, even though obviously that's a battle of semantics.
Yeah.
But what really came true to me while I was playing it was that this is Elder Scrolls that I can play with my friends, but if I choose not to, I'm just having another Elder Scrolls kind of experience with that level of immersion. So can you tell us a little bit about your design philosophy for things?
Sure, you kind of hit on it. I think anyone that you ask that works in the MMORPG industry will tell you that MMORPG is a terrible acronym and a bad way to describe what we do. Because really what we're doing is, and this is what we're absolutely stated that we were going to do with the Elder Scrolls Online, was make an RPG first, like make a role-playing game,
right? And
then design it so that that lots of massive numbers of people can play it. But you can't get away anymore with having a bad RPG in an MMO, because it used to be that just having other people in the game was so cool that you didn't have to concentrate so much on the other stuff. But now there's so many great games out there that you really need to have a great game experience and be multiplayer at the same time. And that's the approach that we took when we started the design.
That's cool, and there's a lot of games that are trying to bring a lot of new things to the MMO space or to the online gaming space, and they may bring that next pillar of whatever, but if they don't have their foundation solid, then it just doesn't work. And we've seen hits or misses over the last 12 to 24 months.
Well, that's what the huge advantage that we have is that the stuff we're bringing to the table is the Elder Scrolls. So
Yep.
it's everyone already knows what it is. It comes with a play style that you're familiar with. We have the same combat system that kind of Skyrim and Oblivion had, with the mouse and left click is swing and right click's block, and
Yep.
some special abilities. So we did that just for that reason, is that we're bringing Elder Scrolls to online. So we didn't have to dream up anything new, because the stuff that was new to online gamers was stuff that, of course, console gamers have been experiencing for a long time.
So what would you say were maybe some of your major challenge in trying to take that very mature IP, the very mature and in-depth lore of Elder Scrolls, but now open it, pierce the veil, and make it something that is now something that you can do co-op or with other people? What was a major challenge there?
Well,
I'm sure there were many.
there's always many in making an MMO like this, but the depth of the lore was actually a huge advantage because we didn't have to sit down and think about timelines and think about character names and the names of the different demons that are trying to invade and the names of the eight divines. There's only 8 in our time period because we're 1,000 years before. But that stuff's already written down and we didn't have to spend any time coming up with it. Then we decided to put the game about 1,000 years before all the other games, and then that gave us established lore, but in a time that people didn't know a whole lot about. So we could use all the stuff people knew about, but then add our own stories because it's so far in the remote past that we could get away with changing things around a little and making it a little more wild and a little more Age of Hero type thing with the huge war that's going on. And so the challenge, I think, was just making sure that all those elements fit together right in kind of an Elder Scrolls context. And you can tell me if we did that because you just played it for hours and hours and hours.
I mean, obviously I'm biased because I just played it and obviously I've been wanting to play it. So, I mean, everything that you're saying, held true from what I could see. Obviously, I need to play more, hint, hint, so I might need to be in friends and family.
Hint taken.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up all your time. I want to wrap this up. What are maybe some of your ultimate goals that you're hoping to achieve? And obviously from the guild perspective, what's maybe one of the biggest things you want to achieve over time? And it might be a multi-part answer or something. That you're wanting to do that will make this a game that's not only Elder Scrolls you can play with your friends, and now something that's going to actively draw and bring in guilds that are obviously social constructs by themselves. What's maybe a goal that you want to try to accomplish?
Well, I think the Elder Scrolls stuff that we've been talking about is game design-y stuff, but we're doing a lot of stuff outside of the game, and this is the social things that you're talking about, like things like mega servers where we're only going to have one server that everyone can play on, so all your friends are there. So if you have a social network like a guild, or if you have 2 guilds or 3 guilds, you could have multiple different social networks all available to you when you log in. You don't need to pick a shard to find them, they're just right there. So it lets guild leaders set up guilds easier because instead of having slices of 2 to 4,000 players on each shard, you have access to the entire user base. So it makes it much easier to recruit and much easier to communicate with people. And that's the reason why that's cool for guilds and guild leaders, is also the reason why it's cool for everyone else, is because you can just import your friends from Facebook. They're right there. If they have an account and they're your friends on Facebook, you can import them and they're right in your friends list, and you can talk to them, you can jump into the game and play with them. All of those social features, which really boils down to finding people, and then once you found them, put them into your group or a circle or a guild, and then that's why we did that, is just so you could have that all at your fingertips.
Well, very cool. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Look forward to trying to do this maybe again, and look forward to launch.
All right, thanks a lot.